Welcome to Wisdom on the Front Porch. And the front porch can be anywhere you are. It can be in a digital cafe. It can be at your kitchen table. It can just be at the fence talking with the FedEx man for a while. It's wherever you're going to gain wisdom or share wisdom with somebody else. And today we get to share in Micah's wisdom. How are you doing, Micah?
Doing pretty well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Oh, I'm glad you're here. I always enjoy our conversations. So, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? I'll let you do that. Who are you? What do you do? And why should people listen to you?
Absolutely.
Put you on
My
the
name
spot.
is, yeah, my name is Micha Yott. I live just outside of Rochester, New York. I'm an artist and writer. I also do a little bit of speaking. I'm a musician, and I'm also a carpenter.
Oh, nice.
What I
Nice.
have done in this past year and a half, roughly, is wrote down my process on how I transmute trauma using art, nature, and connection. And I've simplified it down so it's very easy to follow.
For those that are watching on YouTube, the reason my head is down is I'm taking notes from Micah. He always has valuable information, and I want to make sure I don't miss out.
And I am looking to get that out into the world to help people that are struggling with childhood trauma, addiction, and depression, something that I've suffered with most of my life.
I'm writing this all down.
Mm.
Because, gosh, yeah, I know so many people who would love to read your book when it's ready. I know I'm excited for it to get done. But just from our conversations we've had together, you have such great insight and a great way to look at things. Um, so let's say somebody's listening or watching the podcast today or the next day or whatever day it is, and they go, well, I've experienced childhood trauma. Yeah, I've experienced addiction. I'm definitely depressed. So, what are some first steps that you would suggest for somebody?
Mm. If you're struggling with, let's say, depression, something that I've had to struggle with most of my life, the first thing I would say is that you have to get active because depression, as we know, it slows us down and puts us into kind of a stale state of mind. So you have to get active, you have to get up, you have to get moving, do something physical. What I like to do is just calisthenic workouts, just to get the blood pumping, get my muscles working, and then maybe study something new.
Now, how does studying something new help?
Well, getting the mind active as well as getting the body active. Uh, it's stimulating and it gets you into something that you can focus that energy instead of thinking so much. And that's really something that I've struggled with is when I'm not active, I start thinking too much and it usually creates a negative thought cycle, which takes me further down into a depression.
Yeah,
So studying something new kind of redirects that energy.
definitely. Yeah, and I know for for me, when it just seems like things are not going right and I'm frustrated and it's like I just want to shut everything down, just go hide in my closet, wrap up in a blanket, go play Xbox games, something. Um, that that usually I'm concentrating so much on the problem that it's not giving me the ability to see a solution or see a workaround or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, somebody said to me, play some uplifting music, worship music and a woman of faith. So yeah, get get out the old CDs of DC Talk or Stephen Curtis Chapman with the song Dive. You just can't not move with those on. The other thing I like to do is go for a walk or just sit out on the porch, get outside. I like what you said though, because also getting your mind to move, studying something new. I know there's sometimes that in order for me to clear my head, you being a carpenter will understand this. I need a project to do, something that I can work on for a little bit, then stop, go do something else. So, and some you do art. I have a painting I'm working on. I am not an artist. Let everybody know that right now. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. And I actually have it on an easel in my office, so I get to look at it. And I'm taking my time with it because I want it to look right. So this is a labor of love, and I never work on it when I'm upset. Never.
Mm.
No,
That is a
I
great way
wait.
to do it.
Yeah. Do you use your art to um, relieve some of the stress, some of the trauma? I just saw an advertisement for a painting class to release trauma. They wanted teachers for it. And it's like, "Mm, I'm not going to be a teacher for that. I don't know what I'm doing." But do you find that you use your art for that?
Yes, absolutely. And I feel that I know that you might not feel like an artist, but I believe everybody is. I believe everyone's an artist. If you, like you said, you create it with love and you take your time on it, that's art
Yeah,
right there. That's really what art is, in my opinion. It's just creating something with love, energy, and it comes out beautiful every time.
yeah.
And something that I like to focus on is when I'm in that frustrated stage or I'm still processing something is I like to channel it into something. So drawing and painting is a great outlet. Even if you're in a really frustrated stage, you can still kind of channel that feeling into something.
Right.
I like to start with dance, uh, or some type of
Mm,
physical thing. Uh, I like to practice martial arts and dance. So those two things are great for any type of frustration. Get the frustration out.
yeah.
It's so physical. Um, but yes, I love to use art as therapy. I feel like if we can use art and then connect at the same time with people, then it's a win-win for everybody because you're creating something and you're connecting with people and you're
Yeah.
getting in touch with yourself. Nature is also extremely inspiring to me, so I'll go out and sit in nature for a while
Mhm.
and let my body calm down. Just listen to birds or look for insects to just watch, and it brings me back to center.
Yeah, I love that. Somebody had mentioned to me probably a couple of years ago about journaling your frustrations. And yes, I'm an author, but it's different to journal your frustrations than to write a book, especially when most of my books are children's books. But one thing I found I started to do is I'd start writing what I'm frustrated about, what thoughts came into my head, and I'd write it down. And then I would just end up making circles because I couldn't write fast enough and just to get it all out. And I do circles or scribbles. And after I'd done that for a couple of 3 days, I found out I didn't have to do that anymore. It was like I finally had a place to put all of that frustration. And it's not something I have to keep, you know. It's nothing to read there anyways, but a bunch of scribbles. Um, and that really helped. And it brought me to, okay, so I've gotten that out, but what do I do about those thoughts that keep coming in there? And that's when I learned the process of capturing your thoughts. And it's like, how do you capture a thought? Well, you don't ignore it. I actually learned this through meditation. I was doing I think it's called the Encounter app. Um, it is a Bible app. Uh, the gentleman just takes you through the different process to breathe and something to say. But it's like, don't worry if those thoughts come into your head. You need to acknowledge them because if you don't, they're going to keep coming back. They're going to get louder and maybe bring friends with them, and you don't want those kind of friends. So, so I learned that when those thoughts were there, I would say, okay, I see you, but you know what? You don't live here anymore. So you need to just go away. And after I started doing that, I would found out a month later, it's like, wow, I don't even think those things anymore. But it's because I finally recognized it instead of trying to shove it down somewhere or get rid of it other ways. And that was really helpful. I have one thing I tell everybody not to do, and yet I find myself doing it. And this is where I'm using those capturing those thoughts as I compare myself to others. Well, look what they're doing. And it's like it doesn't matter what they're doing. Yeah, or yeah, look at what they're doing. Hooray for them. That's fantastic. That's great. But you're on this path and you've only been on this path this amount of time. And most of the people that I look to and see, wow, I'm just so proud of what they're doing. Why aren't I doing that? And that's where I stop it. And it's like, well, because you just haven't got there yet. Or they've been doing it for 10 years and you've only been doing it for 2. So come on, give yourself a little break here. You know, that adage of you've got to be kind to yourself, especially in your thoughts. And the sooner you quit beating yourself up, the sooner you find you're not getting as depressed all the time. If you've been depressed for years, it's going to take some time to get through this. It won't happen all at once, but you keep trying. You keep going forward, just one step at a time.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it is, you have to have patience with yourself. We do
Yeah.
want it to be done quick and everything, but you have to be patient.
Yeah. And the first step is just realizing that you don't want to be like that anymore. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I really don't want to be like this anymore. And you'll have those little thoughts come in and go, yeah, but you've done it this way for years. It's part of who you are. And you just say, you know what? Not anymore. Not anymore. But what are some other tips you could give to people?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Another thing that I always enjoy doing is listening to music, but
Mhm.
finding new music that might cause some type of new emotion or challenge me. Maybe it causes some new type of reaction or uplifting.
Hmm.
Um, so I always try to kind of put myself into a position where I'll experience something new, like music, or a challenge, because I feel like I know that challenges can be kind of depressing if we keep failing them, but if you start out really small and easy, it actually works the opposite. Something that you can handle, and then you feel a little bit better because you succeeded at something small, and then you make it a little bit more challenging. So something that I was working on this past year was uh, putting myself out there socially, just on live in live recordings, not really planning anything or thinking about anything, just hitting the record button and go. And whatever comes out, comes out. And after doing it a while, it's like it made me feel better. So some nice
Awesome.
little things
Oh,
just to kind
that's
of
cool.
put yourself there.
And it's hard to just put yourself out there, especially if you've been holding everything in for so long. Because I know one of the feelings I hear people say the most is I don't want to be judged. I don't want to make a mistake and make a fool of myself. I don't want people to think, you know, awful things about me. And I think it's the worry of the what ifs that really hold us back. And then it's like, well, what if it's really amazing though? What if somebody else says, hey, I totally understand that. Wow, look what they're doing. You know, it's instead of thinking of the negative what ifs, it's what if something amazing really happens?
Because you do have that power to think about what ifs. So what if something amazing happens? It's the same,
Yeah,
thought process. You're just making it a positive.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So what if somebody is working on this and they've taken the few suggestions we've offered and they're doing it, but it's not quite enough. What it- what should they look for? And I'm just going to say they should go find a coach, because a coach is someone who could help them.
Yes.
Maybe they need more professional help, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mhm.
If you break an arm, you go to a doctor to get it fixed. If you have trauma and whatnot in your life, addiction or depression from whatever, you go to a doctor to get it fixed. But when they look for a coach or a doctor, someone to help guide them, what are some things they should look for?
Mm. I think if you're seeking help from outside, uh, from a professional or just a coach, I think the most important thing is that you have a great relationship with them right away, rapport. So it's an energy. If you can have
Okay.
conversation with them and it feels comfortable and safe and friendly and welcoming, like uh, they vibe with you, I guess. That's probably the first thing you would want to look for because you don't want to kind of take coaching or guidance from somebody that you're not comfortable with because then you're going to
Right.
hate meeting with them. You're going to find any reason not to, or talk yourself out of doing it, or just think you're going to fail before you even start. So that's the first thing I would suggest is find someone that you vibe with.
So tell us more about you and what do you do?
Absolutely, absolutely. So right now, I just published my book on my process called Evolution Then Revolution. Uh, but
Say
I'm now
say that
working on.
again. I didn't understand it. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. It's called Evolution Then Revolution: How to Push with Love.
Evolution then revolution. Okay,
It's my short process on transmuting trauma. It's only about 20 pages, so it's very easy to follow.
cool. Now,
And
go ahead.
oh, okay. I was going to say that, and it's available for download, so it's free, but it's also available for purchase on paperback. So it's either way. And then I
Nice.
made it into an audiobook for people that like to listen to things instead of read.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, yeah. I am editing somebody's book, their first book they've written. I'm really proud of them. And I actually, for whatever reason, when I'm on my phone, the words are white, the background is white. I can't see it. So I hit the audio and have it read to me. And it's like, oh, so this is why everybody likes audiobooks. I mean, it was really nice to have a story read to me, but that way I could really listen to and go from there. So it's wonderful you've got it on audio. So you keep talking about transmute trauma. What's the word transmute mean to you in this instance?
Yeah, yeah. And it's a word that I came across this past year is transmute, which I never associated it with my process until I started learning about it through other people. Uh, Transmutation or transmutation, I believe, uh, it basically means taking something negative and turning it into something positive, like straw into gold. Yeah, which essentially is taking your
Interesting.
trauma and making something like art.
Okay. Taking something negative and turning it into something positive. Huh. I like the example of straw into gold. Just because I know the story too.
Yeah.
Ah, it's really good. Yeah. How can you as an outsider, when you see these triggers go off, um, what are some things that we can't do? I mean, until the person is ready to do something about it, we can't do anything. But how do we support our friend or a loved one in a situation like that?
Mm. I would say the first thing you would want to do is just reassure them that you are there for them. And when they are ready and calm, that you are ready to listen. Because I feel like when
Okay,
somebody is triggered, that's really all they want, is they want somebody to listen to them. They don't want somebody to talk to them or talk at them or
right.
try to solve anything. They just want somebody just to hear them and validate that everything they're feeling is okay.
Okay. Yeah, and that that's a really good point you made. Everything they're feeling is okay. Because a lot of times we're told, no, you can't feel like that. Oh, you need to quit doing this. You need to quit feeling that way. And until you actually get those feelings out, they're just going to keep trying to resurface and keep coming back. Um, I know that when, when I was going through counseling after leaving a toxic relationship, it was like, now don't be doing dishes if you're angry because you don't want to be throwing plates and cups and breaking them. Not that I did that, but it's just, one of the things they talk about. And if you're frustrated, just start sweeping the floor. Go mow the grass, just don't run over your flowers. But you have to release it, because holding it in it keeps it there. You don't want it there. You need to get it out and let it go. And one thing that I found that really helps when I get real frustrated, and you're clenched up and you're feeling it inside, even if you're not doing it physically, is you need to just open yourself up, breathe in the good air, and if your hands are clenched, open them up so you can release all of that. Just release it. And then for me, again, as a person of faith, I lift my hands upward then. I release it like this, but then I lift my hands like this, so I can be filled with God's Spirit and God's love, and just clean all that stuff out and get with that. So I'll say the breath of God in me and all this negative energy out, or something on that grounds, and it makes a difference. Now, if you're in a public place with a lot of people, you can't always do that, but you can just put your hands by your side, hands open again on the sides of your legs, and just breathe in and breathe out, and think of it in your mind, breathing in the good, releasing the negative, and then I look at it as a love of God coming in me, and I'm releasing the love of God out, so that you get that clear path. I mean, that, to me, even hearing that coming out of my mouth a few years ago would have just been the weirdest thing in the world, but I realized what a difference it makes. Is you bring that love in, but you release that love out. So now you don't have all that frustration going out to people around you, and it makes you more pleasant to be around.
I
At
agree.
least I think.
I agree. And I think you nailed it. It's the visualization of positive coming in and releasing the
Yeah,
negative energy. If you create that in and out through your breath work, it does magic for your body.
yeah.
I just recently learned that you do 25 deep breaths consecutively. It's almost as if you really can't help but be feeling better.
Awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have found, you were talking about music earlier. I have found the kind of music you play makes a huge difference, because you can have music that is just going to get you riled up, you know, upset and whatnot. And maybe, as you said, we need to find some different music, find something that we like, try out some different things. I don't know if, boy, this is going to show my age, but you used to be able to go to, like, a place that sold records, vinyl records, or whatever, and you could listen to some of the music. But gosh, we've got YouTube, we've got all this access. Just go search for some different music. Maybe soothing music. I don't like real soothing music. It just kind of has an opposite effect on me. It's like, it's making me upset. I don't want this. So I get something that's, fits me a little better. But try out different kinds of music, and see what you like. And
Mhm.
when you find something, you can go to it. I know one of the things they talk about with people who have like ADHD or whatever, you listen to some certain kind of music. Well, I listened to a certain kind of music one time, and it just put me to sleep instead of energizing me. And it's like, yeah, this is not the right one. So you've got to find what works.
Yep. Yep. Got to find what works, which is most important. And you're right. That's pretty much how I found a lot of music. It's just going on YouTube and just searching for something
Oh,
new.
good, good, good. Yeah, you can find this podcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So you do some coaching too, correct?
Yep. I do. I
Yeah,
do. I try
yeah,
to help people.
yeah. So what kind of So if I'm looking for a coach and you're a coach, how would I know that you would be a coach for me? I mean, what kind of
Kind of coaching do I offer?
yeah, that's
So
it.
so it's a multi-tiered coaching that I like to use. The first thing I like to do is I like to just kind of listen. If people need somebody to listen to them uh, because of something they're struggling with, like depression or trauma or heartbreak or divorce, financial struggle, anything that is causing them massive stress in their life.
Okay.
So I just offer someone to just listen. I'll just listen and offer some insight from my experience. Uh, the additional coaching that I offer is through art therapy as well, showing them how to use various art programs that I've learned in order to create something they want to create. And then the last one I do is business strategy and marketing and like
Hmm.
bookkeeping to make sure that everything is super efficient.
Yeah. That's really good. I like that. That's a um well rounded out, I think is the words I'm looking for. Because yeah, when you've got a lot of this stuff going on, that usually means that other things in your environment are suffering from it too, whether it be finances or work or whatever. And so it's good to be able to address all of that.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so we haven't even let people know how they can find you. How can somebody find you?
It's fairly easy if you just look up my name, Micah Yott, on Facebook or on LinkedIn or on TikTok or on YouTube or in Instagram or Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. It's I'm pretty easy to find. It's just my name, Micah Yott, Yott. So
Okay.
you'll be able to find it.
Oh, good. That's great. That's great. So, do you have any closing thoughts for us today?
I think that you definitely nailed it with the breathing. I think that's the one thing people need to remember is in the moments of chaos, that's the only time you really need to take a moment and pause and
Yeah,
breathe, and everything will be okay, is if you pause and breathe.
yeah, definitely. I want to ask you something too, is sometimes it's hard to talk about to other people about what's going on inside because we're live in a society where you have to always be on top of your game all the time. You always have to be happy and cheerful. And so when you're not, it's like people kind of back off or they don't know how to respond. But how important is it to have a support team? And and what would be a good support team?
Hmm. That is very important, I feel. I feel like having at least a couple people around you that want to see you succeed. They want to see you do well. That's probably the most important thing that you can have when it comes to depression or something you're struggling with, because you need to rely on that connection in order to kind of keep you
Right?
afloat, especially in the hard times. So finding the right people would really come down to just a simple feeling. And if you feel that they are lifting you up when you connect with them, or if you feel kind of drained after you connect with someone, it's very simple. One of those two things are going to happen when you connect with somebody, and obviously you want to do the one that is lifting you up. So
Yeah,
focus on them.
definitely. Definitely. And it's difficult to make the changes that you've been comfortable with for so long. Um, yeah, so, finding someone who is different or who you can talk to sometimes takes a little bit of effort and you need to do a little searching. And we don't have to tell everything that's going on with us, but just say, hey, I'm just having kind of a tough day today. And I just wanted you to know, maybe you can think of me today or something. You know, it's as simple as that. For those of us with faith, we usually just say, I need some prayer. Can't tell you what it is, but can you just pray? You know, or or just have somebody say, hey, maybe send me a text later today and ask how I am, because it's just kind of tough right now. But keep that connection there, because you do matter. People think, well, I don't matter anymore. If I disappeared, it wouldn't matter in this world. Well, you do matter. And we all matter. And part of that depression is that it's convinced us that we don't have any value, and we do. And we do. I was just writing about it again for an article in somebody else's magazine, not mine, that I'm honored to be in. But, I tell the story of, nobody has and nobody ever will make the choices that you've made, because they're your choices, and nobody ever has or ever will be one to react or act the way you have to choices other people have made that have directly affected you. And those choices you've made is your value inside of you, because you've lived through it. You know what was going on, and that is valuable to somebody else. And so when you're feeling, oh, I don't matter to this person, I don't matter to that one, well, you do matter to somebody. And that value inside of you is what makes you worthy. And that value and that worth together make you enough exactly the way you are. Does that mean we can't improve on ourselves? Oh, absolutely we can. Do we have to? No. But it's good to make changes and grow every day. But you're still enough. And because of all of those choices that you made, that value in you, that worth that you have, those are the things that matter to other people. And you may not see it now, but later on, you're going to say, oh, I guess I do matter in this. This was something I did. And it's not that we need to be out there expecting people to always want from us, to always feel like we have to give value to everybody else. But sometimes just being yourself is enough. Opening a door for somebody is enough. Smiling for somebody, maybe they're having a tough day too. There's little things we can do that are more than enough for other people. But Micah, thank you so much for being here today. I always enjoy speaking with you. I know I did a lot of talking today. I think it's one
I
of
love
those
being here
days.
too.
It's great. And thank you, our listeners, for being here with us, whatever day or time you're listening to it. We really appreciate it. You can find us on Wisdom on the Front Porch for the podcast, and soon to come out January 15th, Wisdom on the Front Porch, the and print magazine, and you can subscribe to that. So thank you again, Micah. So people know Micah, Micha Yott, Yott. And tell us the name of your book again.
It's Evolution, Then Revolution, How to Push with Love.
Yes, very good, very good. And I love that word you use, transmute trauma, changing a negative into a positive. That's wonderful. So thank you for being here on Wisdom on the Front Porch. I'm Alice Kirkpatrick, your host, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us today on Wisdom on the Front Porch with your host, Alice Kirkpatrick. You can find us on our website, wisdomonthefrontporch.com, see previous episodes of the podcast, and view issues of the magazine. Did you know you can submit questions, leave reviews, or suggest topics? You can also tell us where your favorite front porch location is and what it means to you. We hope you gain value and insight from today's or previous talks. We appreciate your support for us so we can continue to provide value and expertise to you and others. Subscribe to Wisdom on the Front Porch magazine and receive a second year absolutely free. This is a limited time offer available exclusively to those who mention the name of today's podcast. Join in next week when we bring you another great insight into the world of entrepreneur culture and lifestyle. Make today a great day. Always believe that something wonderful is going to happen.